Hello, everybody. What is up? Hello, testing. Can everybody hear me? I was gonna play a song and then go live, but no, nobody wants to just look at a starting soon screen. Awesome job, Lucid. You did amazing. Shout out to everybody who did a fantastic job with the hotfix. Like, what was it, like 10 seconds ago? Something like that? What is up, everybody? My name is Carly. I'm a workshop host here at StreamerSquare. You better smash that subscribe button because we have great emotes about raising your hands in case you ever have any questions about what we're going over. So, today, chat, I'm gonna learn you a thing or two. I'm gonna learn you some things about social media. I know. Question, why are you awesome? Answer, because you're awesome, Dylan. Yes, Chef, it is me. Today, I'm going to be doing a segment on a beginner's guide to social media for streaming. So a lot of this is going to cover the basics, and maybe a little things that you might not know currently about how to make your social media platform more than just, hey, I'm live, right? It's gonna be pretty awesome. Let me know if we have any volume issues. I think it's good for now, but stay tuned, chat. Get comfy here a little bit. Mic could be louder. Thank you, Loco. Hello, Loco. Loco. Testing my mic. Okay, I think that is pretty good. Or music down 50%. Thank you, Hiko. Or music down. Mic up or music down? What do we think? Okay. Sorry, chat. Today has been a whirlwind. Actually, the past several days have been quite the whirlwind, in case anybody hasn't been catching up with the social media lately. Okay, there we go. Now we're all good. We're gonna start this again? We're gonna do it? No, we're not gonna do that. I'm just kidding, chat. Welcome to another workshop through StreamerSquare. Again, my name's Carly, and I'm going to be going through the beginning guide on social media to your streaming platform. So today we're going to focus on the use of social media and the most common media platforms for streamers looking to improve their visibility, their reach, and to ultimately attract new viewers for your live content. So the three most important channels that we're going to focus on are the three that you have probably already heard of or have the most basic understanding of here. It's going to be Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. I do Photoshop documents because I think that they're easier to do than PowerPoint. So let me know if you can see everything. First of all, we're gonna go into Twitter. It's awesome. It's a great social media platform that y'all might have heard of. Not sure, especially with everything going on. So basically, we're gonna start with Twitter. It is the closest thing we have to a live medium for things like going live announcements, highlights from shows or streams that are currently happening. It's also an appropriate place to announce things like new YouTube uploads as soon as they go up, or a stream schedule that you can join. It's important to not post too much on Twitter, or you're gonna risk out flooding your followers with info that either they don't relate to, or that we're just gonna go into that later. But basically, don't flood your chat with all of these things. They're gonna have way too many things to look at already that you want to focus on more. If you post too much over the course of like an hour, and then you just leave for 5 days, it's just not good. It is not what you want at all, chat. So, first thing with Twitter we're going to go into is presentation. So, presentation is very important for Twitter, chat. It's super important. Having a sleek and organized header, username, and avatar is going to help your page go above and beyond to make a good impression on people who want to see what you're all about. So, in general, you need to make sure to use a profile image that best fits your stream's disposition. If your channel is about warm welcomes, a friendly smile is going to get the job done. If you're an esports streamer, a profile picture is going to look a lot differently. Think about mainly just think about the vibe that you want to give off when people see your replies and your tweets in their feed, as well as what they do when they click on your profile. So this was my old avatar, and this is my new one. Because I'm mainly an animator, this is in the style of The Midnight Gospel. It's a show that I worked on, and I wanted to show my support for that. So now every time people see me on their timeline scrolling through everything, they'll be, oh yeah, it's that one Midnight Gospel animator. There we go. So, oh yes, another thing, so if your channel is less of a you kind of thing, if it's less of you marketing yourself as a brand, and it's more about marketing, say, an awesome free resource for teaching people how to stream and all of the ins and outs of everything, including modern technology and social media, like StreamerSquare, you're gonna want like a logo instead. So, your next thing up is your Twitter handle is gonna be your, like, @ So, right here, this is your Twitter handle right here. So my handle is @KarliCartoons. If your handle is the same as your Twitch channel, then you're gonna have the opportunity to be more liberal with your display name. So your display name is this thing that goes up here that you can continuously change without much consequence, right? If your Twitter handle is not the same as your channel name, you're probably gonna want to consider changing that like as soon as you possibly can. So you want to get it as close as possible. So sometimes handles are already going to be taken, right? Like, it happens. I mean, if your name is Loco and your handle is I love fish moly, right? Your Twitch followers are going to have a hard time finding you on Twitter and vice versa. So a more appropriate tag, because Loco is taken currently, would be Loco2525, because she really likes that number, because it stands for how much she loves fish moly. It's a secret code, actually. If your handle isn't the same, don't worry about it. Changing your display name to your Twitch handle is also appropriate and will help with the search function more. So, as an additional example, having a matching name on Twitch and Twitter will allow you more freedom when it comes to your display name right here. Let's see. My handle everywhere is obviously, it's KarliCartoons, like, I mean, and on any platform, that's what it's going to be, right? But usually on Twitter, it's gonna be Karli in all caps with an exclamation point and maybe a smiley face if I feel like it. And I can change that around and it's fine, because people, if they're on my Twitch channel, are gonna go over to Twitter, type in KarliCartoons, and they're gonna see this handle no matter what my name is. So, your Twitter profile banner should match the type of content that you put out on your stream. So a profile banner is a very easy way to grab a potential follower's attention and give them a virtual taste of what you're about. So you want to change it to something that is relevant and eye-catching, and you want to keep it the same color scheme as your channel's profile. So this is a pretty bad example, which I did want to include intentionally, because this is just a screenshot of the credits for Midnight Gospel, and I have it as my profile picture, my header image, because I don't know what else to put there, and I was pretty proud of the show when it came out. But something a little bit better is going to be Loco's header, which I am gonna just use her as an example most of the time on Twitter, because her entire theme is purple. You got the gold, you got her logo, you have who she is, like what you can literally just search on Twitch or anywhere to get her information. You got a little blurb about what kind of content she puts out, and then you also have all of her other socials if you want to explore further. So with that, your bio in your Twitter, so this is the little description underneath your handle and your header picture. It's important real estate that can give info on who you are, what you do, and how to contact you. So it gives anyone who visits your page a condensed overview of the content that they can expect to see when they follow you before they scroll down and start exploring your posts. And I need to pause the music for this. Chat. If you learn one thing from this segment on social media today, I need you to know that you always include your business email in your header. Everywhere. Your header on Twitter. Your header if you have a Facebook page. On Twitch even, like your contact email, your business email, some way for us to know how to get a hold of you if we need to talk to you about something, because usually business opportunities don't happen in DMs, guys, all right? We got to get through this. Put the email, your business email, in your Twitter header. Just do it. There are like a billion recruiters. I've seen so many stories of recruiters who will just see this person with amazing content and then they get frustrated because they discover that they have no way of reaching out to them. Like, there's no way for them to say, hey, we want to work with you if you don't readily provide that info, right? Yes, Rini, if you have info on your profile, be aware of how the avatar sits over the pic in some views of Twitter. That's a really good point. A lot of recruiters don't like link trees either, so they want it quick and easy. Just click on that link, there you go, right? Yeah. Let me see. Yeah, I can't even tell y'all how many job opportunities get missed if you don't have your email in your bio, because they're just gonna choose someone who does. If they find you with amazing stuff and someone else with slightly less good stuff, but they can't contact you, they're gonna go to the person that they can most easily contact. Same thing with your website. I mean, you know, there's my cartooning website, right? You want this to be your Twitch handle if that's your main thing, right? Don't do a link tree. Recruiters don't like it. Gross. Just click on the link. It'll open a new tab. It's very nice. Just keep it as simple as possible, because recruiters don't have a lot of time when they're looking for talent, and they're not going to spend the extra like 5 seconds clicking on something when someone else is just going to make it easier for them. A city location in your bio is also great for letting people know where you're based, which helps with networking locally with streamers or brands in your area. So it also helps influencer managers from companies of all sizes to know your time zone and your availability for live events. Geo-targeted campaigns are absolutely a real thing, and being the only streamer of a certain game in a certain state, in a certain city of that state, is gonna get you noticed or contacted for unique offers, right? So, you know, my employers need to know that I'm in Los Angeles because, you know, pre-quarantine, they need people in Los Angeles to work on animation. So I'm gonna tell them, hey, I live here, you know? Simple stuff like that. But if you're not entirely comfortable with that, I mean, I would say, like, don't put out this information if you're not comfortable with it, especially your city, if you live in a really small city. But in my case, I mean, LA's huge. I need people to know where I am anyways for opportunities and events like that, so, you know. Next up is your pinned tweet. Oh man, Loco's pinned tweet is great. So it's basically an expanded version of your bio that can offer more details as well as media to highlight about your channel and about your brand. So you could pin a graphic of your schedule, or maybe you could post like a selfie or a clip from your stream, or even the intro reel to your channel if you have one, right? So Loco's here is great because you go through, you see her header, you see her profile bio, and you see how to contact her, and then immediately you scroll down and see the pinned tweet. This is what you can expect from Loco's stream. One of my biggest focuses is helping content creators learn and grow. My goal with social media is to provide real thoughts and a balanced, experienced perspective on this industry. You will not find fakeness here, and if you're new, welcome, and I hope I can teach you something. That's perfect. Your pinned tweet is just expanding upon your bio. It's allowing for more information to be put forth. Now on to posting. Posting is a little bit tricky in terms of talking about the rules because it really ultimately does come down to your personal preference. But there are some basic rules and etiquette to follow for when it comes to actually doing this. So you want to stay consistent. That's always the first thing. Right over here, stay consistent. Consistency. Number 1. Twitter is fantastic for getting up-to-date information in a timely manner and being able to share clips from your stream that day, or, you know, maybe even a recap clip after your stream is over. It's great for updated live content. You want to avoid bombing your followers with content. So I know I mentioned this earlier. I actually got way ahead of myself when talking about bombing, but it's very important. It's one of the first things you learn as an artist too, is that you don't want to suddenly come in with 50 gazillion posts on like Wednesday, right? And then after all of your content is posted, You don't just want to you don't want to like abandon everything for like 5 days and your viewers like what happened? Now I'm just left here with all of this content that appeared on my feed once and now it's just there's nothing there. It's empty. This is a cricket. That's a cricket. This is your feed if you do bombing, right? And you know, next time if you come back after a week or 2 weeks and you post like a massive memoir or a huge thread in only a couple of hours, not only is this ineffective for your followers' timelines, but it's ineffective for you as well. So make sure to avoid bombing your post unless you really like crickets on your timeline, because this cricket's pretty happy that there are no bombs there. Oh yes, another thing about staying consistent is it's going to provide opportunities for you to bump your posts back to the top of your followers' timelines when you get replies interacting with that content. So if you make a post, right? If you do that, it pops up on people's timelines and they're like, cool. Now I see the post, and you know they're gonna scroll it away, and it's just gonna be gone right after that. But if you stay consistent and if you have additional info on your posts, or a little blurb, right? If you reply to your own post, or if you reply to people who are interacting with your post, that activity is actually going to bump your post all the way back up to the top of someone's timeline again. So they're going to give another opportunity to see it. So it's going to just basically get more eyes on your content, right? Sometimes, I mean, I know, let's see, Hunter will save an extra tidbit to talk about on his post for later. He's gonna make the post, wait a few hours, and then add some, like, supplemental, information to the bottom of the post. And it's gonna be, I'm sorry, I'm getting really tongue-twisted today. I was gonna say that it's a creative way to make sure that your content is bumped to the top of the timeline. Sometimes I've even been guilty of just saying bump at the bottom of my art. And even though it's not necessarily like the best thing to do, it still works. But I would definitely encourage y'all to get creative with just your posting and ways that you can continue to keep it fresh and relevant on your viewers' timeline. Ooh, gonna breathe. Next thing we're gonna do is to stay on brand. So in general, you wanna keep your posting consistent with your branding and with your channel, right? I'm gonna bring this back. So if you're like a Sea of Thieves, if you're a Sea of Thieves streamer, who also happens to be a cat puppet named Rocco, right? Rocco could probably post cool pirate facts, right? Because that's relevant to Rocco's stream. But at the same time, you're not gonna want to post things like Funko Pop giveaways, or hey, follow me and retweet this to win like $1,000, or you're not gonna want to post about The Bachelor. You know, you don't want to put those things on your timeline. Your viewers aren't gonna care about it, and it just it detracts away from your brand. Ultimately, social media is a platform that you use to sell yourself. You need to convince people why you are worth their attention, which you are, because you're interesting, alright? You got something to offer the world, but if you're gonna drown it out in all of this irrelevant content, people aren't going to enjoy that, and they're gonna unfollow. Please don't just constantly spam me all day, every day on Twitter with irrelevant links. Keep your Twitter relevant, not directed specifically at everyone. Yes. Yes, that's so good. That's so good. Yes. I love it. Oh, yeah. This is the good stuff right here. So, okay. Let's pretend that you're me, right? Let's pretend that you're me and you post about art and drawing and it's all super good. And all of your followers are like, yeah, man, I totally love drawing and stuff. I'm gonna stay here and watch this. But what if one day you decide that you're like super into frogs for no reason? This is just a completely random example. Completely random, not even relevant to me at all. But if you're really into frogs, and there's a show on TV about frogs and you get really invested in it, you're not gonna want to constantly tweet about frogs, right? But what I could do is get an alternate account where I can post about frogs and other random personal things that I like to talk about, and your followers they'll be new followers. They're gonna be like, wow, I love this person who really likes this frog content, you know, but it's not gonna clog up your initial branding. So if you are passionate about something and you do want to talk about something frequently that isn't a part of your streaming brand, definitely recommend getting a personal account. Lots of artists in animation have like personal accounts just for like solely politics or non-art related things. It's very normal. You can keep it private if you want. You can tell people you have a personal Twitter. It really doesn't matter as long as at the end of the day you keep the clutter off of your timeline. You could draw some frogs and mention that you got the inspiration from the show. I like the way you think, Dolphin. That's pretty great. So, there is also some debate going around with the practicality of a going live tweet, and whether or not they're worth posting every single time you're live. We had a fellow workshop host run polls, and the analytics from the poll suggest that it is actually worth posting a going live tweet and getting the extra eyeballs from people who see your tweets that don't get push notifications or emails to go live. And that's honestly what you're after, is trying to tell people, hey, I'm live right now, y'all need to come in here, hang out with me, it's gonna be really fun, right? But a lot of your regulars aren't going to need that tweet to be able to come into your stream. Oh, yes. Sometimes it is a good idea, especially for your going live tweets. Honestly, I would recommend this with every single going live tweet you have. Attaching a piece of media to a tweet is the best way to make sure that your tweet gets shown on Twitter. It's just how the algorithm is. It's going to prioritize media posts rather than purely text posts. So, you know, maybe if you wanted to add something really interesting to, you know, your going live tweet, I think Loco did a fantastic job with this one where it just says, live interesting tweet, come here. Great. Very good. But as you can see, she attached a thumbnail that she has with her and the things that she does, where to find it, and then also, wow, you can tell that she is going to be playing The Sims today, right? That's like an easy thing that you can do. You can even post like a selfie, right? Like if you want to post a selfie with your going live tweets and be like, oh man, I'm live, come check this out, this is going to be so much fun. You know, you can, I mean, it could be anything. You could even have a clip from your last stream and it's gonna be fine. But attaching interesting media to your going live posts are gonna make sure that they get seen more and pop up on people's timelines. Like this. You could even post a really creepy selfie and it would totally work. So, let's see. Oh yes, about clips, about interesting clips. I do want to mention that if you post a clip on Twitter, don't post the Twitch clips link. No one's gonna click on that. The purpose of social media that you really want to focus on is ease of use for your following. The easier that you make it for people to access your content, the farther that your posts are gonna go. Nobody's gonna click a link, chat, in a tweet. Nobody's gonna do it. If I'm scrolling on Twitter and someone's like, wow, this amazing thing happened on my stream the other day, and it's a link, I can live without it. I really can live without it. Unless it's like a very important thing that like maybe Loco posted because I'm a regular part of her community. But if it's an embedded clip, it's just gonna start autoplaying when I scroll. I might as well watch it regardless. Chef's like, oh, that thumb looks familiar. Thank you, Dylan. Thank you. Grade A knowledge. Yeah, so in general though, downloading Twitch clips, I think it used to be difficult, but now it's actually really easy. You just go to your channel, the video producer, and you click on whatever clip that you want, and it just has a download button right next to share. It just saves it right to your downloads folder. You drag that, you know, wherever you want it to go, and bam, it's done. I'm gonna delete this now. Sometimes streamers will have a countdown with some music playing before they actually show up to the webcam or load up a game, and they're gonna tweet live in 5, right? And a lot of people find that to be a mistake, because when people are browsing on Twitter and scrolling for content and they see that a friend goes live, they're not going to want to go and click on that tweet only to see a starting soon screen. They're just not. They'd rather just go back to browsing Twitter until you're actually live. So waiting until you are live to put the going live tweet is more useful, because then people from Twitter can funnel in, immediately start interacting with you and your community, and it's just a more efficient way to make sure that people stay in using your platform to the fullest, right? Because there are going to be people that are going to come to your stream from Twitter, and they're not going to stay if you have a starting soon screen after they click on that link. So just keep that in mind. Starting soon screens are fine in general. Just so everybody knows, I'm not hating on that. I mean, I use them too. It's fine to do that. Just don't tweet and then have people click into a starting soon screen. Which I do that, so I need to stop doing that. If you are a streamer of a specific game or genre in relation to posting, we're going back to posting, retweeting patch notes or announcements from developers with your own 2-cent opinions or maybe even small summaries can get some traction, and they're going to attach you to those games in your followers' minds. So dropping helpful hints, strategies, tips, etc. can also endear you to players or spark discussions. Twitter is all about engagement, so every single like and reply adds up to visibility and new potential follows for your Twitter, and therefore, new viewers for your channel. People want to be seen and heard, so if you engage with them, they're more likely to stick around for longer periods of time. Also, going back to bumping, if you make a tweet and somebody replies to your tweet and then you reply to them, not only are you giving them a more personal experience into who you are and your content and why they should consume that content, but then it shows everybody else, hey, Loco just replied to this thing, you know, and now the entire thread is back on people's timelines, so it gets it in front of more people's eyes. So just in general, with Twitter, you really do want to be engaging, you want to have good conversations with your chat, you want to make sure that you get your content in front of as many people as possible. If you choose to upload stream highlights or other content to YouTube, putting that on Twitter makes perfect sense for driving up engagement and visibility of your brand. So this is something that y'all might want to write down, because this is really important. I'm going to make it really big. On Twitter, the most active times that users are on Twitter is in between 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. So if you post outside of this window, you still might get engagement, but it's going to be a lot less. And it's going to depend on your time zone and your region and your area. There are tons of infographics online actually that have this information for other programs, but in general, Twitter is 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. and has been for like 5 or 6 years now, from what I've experienced. Question: is there an option to save drafts of your tweets? So if you close the Twitter page by accident, the prepared tweet will not disappear. Yes, like everyone, if you accidentally exit out of a tweet or if you decide to get rid of it, it is going to ask you if you want to save a draft. You can say, yeah, I want to save a draft, or you can say, no, discard it. So it's kind of like an email in that way, I suppose. Just updated my location on my Twitter, didn't even think about that. Oh, nice, Chef. It's so good that you've updated your location to the mod dungeon. I'm really proud of you. 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. What time zone? Eastern? This is Eastern time, specifically. A lot of the graphics that I've found go off of Eastern time. For reasons I'm not sure why, but it doesn't matter. It's fine. So, this is gonna end the Twitter section of our workshop. Does anybody have any extra questions about Twitter specifically? Now would be the time to ask the questions. If you have anything, or any bone to pick with me, you could do that too, if you want to. No, but that was very informative. Thanks, Ninja. Yeah, Ninja, your Twitter is lit, by the way. There are a lot of people whose Twitter branding is very spot on, and I would encourage you that if you would like to improve your social media game on any of these platforms, to follow people who are successful on the platform, because you can really learn a lot from the way that people do things, and what about your behaviors you can change to ensure more engagement. Change my location to Twitch, probably. As a small streamer, any tips on what hashtags should we use? Oh my gosh, like everyone, I am so glad. I am so happy that you asked this question because I was going to cover it with Instagram because hashtags are also very Instagram specific. But I will say, like everyone, on Twitter, get rid of hashtags. Nobody likes them. They're big and they're ugly and they make people sad. Even though, like, Twitter kind of originated the invention of the hashtag, right now on Twitter's interface, if you have a text post right here and then all of these hashtags, like, no, people are more likely to just scroll right past it completely. Don't use hashtags. Or I guess if you feel like you have to use a hashtag, then use like one. And that's like it. Just use one. Or like put it in a reply underneath your original post, especially if it's like a media post that you have, like a picture or something. Don't put hashtags on it. They're yucky. They're only good if you're in an event tweeting spoilery things with shows so other people can mute them. Yeah, honestly, Rini, that's pretty accurate. Yeah, so get rid of hashtags because it makes viewers, it makes them the big mad. Not the big mad, they're just actually gonna scroll right past it. I'm gonna take a drink of water. Yes, so the only hashtag that you're actually allowed to use is hashtag partner Jessie Quill and partner Mxiety, right? Or hashtag 2020, hashtag TC2020 would be a good one, or hashtag Midnight Gospel if you're specifically doing a thread on the show. Oh, thank you, Rainy. Alright. Next thing's next, though, is we're gonna go on to Facebook, though. We're done with Twitter. Put it in the back of your head. Store all of that knowledge away. I hope you took at least mental notes, if not physical notes, because there will be a quiz after this. I'll leave it up to you to decide whether or not I'm serious. So, Facebook obviously is a very different platform from Twitter. Users don't typically browse in a chronological order as much as we would like it to be chronological. That is just a thing of the past now on Facebook. So the algorithms serve content in a more disjointed way, favoring paid advertisements and pages that users search or browse more often. Like, man, Facebook groups, those things are so popular. I'm part of the one where everybody pretends to be an ant. Like, stuff like that is gonna get, like, tons of engagement. Just like, why? None of us know. It's just funny. Right? But instead of like, hey, I'm going live, like a tweet like that isn't gonna be as effective on Facebook as it is on Twitter. I just love that group so much. Everybody just pretends they're an ant, and it's so dumb, but like really dumb like meme groups like that are thriving on Facebook right now for that reason. Unless you're streaming on Facebook gaming specifically, it's generally best to not rely on Facebook as a means of discovery unless you've got something that is really worth sharing, or if you're willing to spend a few bucks on marketing to your target audience, like gamers, young adults, older adults, etc., right? Users will typically only share content on their own walls if they really believe in it or if it's really entertaining to them, less so than like retweeting something onto their personal Twitter feed, right? I will say though, as someone who has experience with Facebook ads and Twitter ads in general, if you are willing to sink money into marketing on these platforms, you can have success. The metrics, I don't know like what the proper term for it is basically the metrics deliver. Like they'll say if you spend $50, you're probably gonna get in between, for example, like 10 and 20,000 impressions. And the money does hold up, and it does create a little bit more of a viewership and following online, especially on Facebook if you're trying to advertise a product. Unfortunately, you just have to be able to do the research and spend the money wisely for that. Facebook has an aspect of permanency to it that makes it more like a scrapbook than a bulletin board, as opposed to like Twitter, which is totally a bulletin board. But with Facebook, you can like put all of your nice memories into one book, and everybody around, all of your friends and family can like look over your shoulder and enjoy all of the things that you post, right? These are all of your followers, by the way, if you have a Facebook public page. They're all happy. By the way, everybody is really happy. And this is Facebook. So, evergreen content, like posts that are gonna hold up over the years, are gonna be the main thing that you should post there. Going live posts are just not gonna do it for people on Facebook, bluntly. It's just not as instant, an update program. Algorithm, that's the word I was looking for. Your page followers probably won't even see your going live post until like a day or two after they log on to Facebook, and things like YouTube videos that you worked hard on, that's a good one. Announcements leading up to a special event like a birthday stream is another good one to have. A charity stream or a podcast appearance, all of those things that are going to be more permanent aspects of your brand are great for a Facebook page because people can kind of scroll through and see what you've been up to and kind of get a general overview of a lot of these fond memories that you want to save in a more permanent aspect, right? Because tweets can get buried so quickly, but it's not really the case with Facebook group pages so much. Oh yeah, man, especially if you visit a convention or a special event, and a few nice pictures can go up with kind of like almost a journal entry. So anything that you feel is worth more than the 280 characters that Twitter's gonna give you, and that you'd like to preserve is appropriate for putting on your Facebook page. In my experience, Facebook pages are somewhat harder to grow than Twitter or Instagram due to the nature of the platform being a bit more personal. So obviously, Facebook has your real name, has photos of your face and everything like that, and it is much more personal and slightly invasive than others. So inviting someone you know personally to like a page can feel a bit like begging, and it discourages people from really trying to advertise themselves there. So if you do have like a Facebook page that you make, because I have one for myself, it's like KarliCartoons, artist, you know, because you can do that. You can have little categories like public figure, artist, business, etc. Inviting every single person on your friends list to like your page, that's a no-no, chat. That is a no-no. You don't want to do that at all. It feels weird, it feels pressury, it just, no one's gonna like it. There's not, like, a whole lot to Facebook pages in terms of like live and instantaneous advertising. Like even when you go live on Facebook, right, doing Facebook Live, people who like that group are going to get a tiny notification up in the notifications bar, but it's not necessarily going to appear on someone's feed who's scrolling. You have to physically go to the page to see it, and even then you're gonna have to scroll past all the promotional stuff and the about me and everything to get to the actual live post. I do believe that live content will have a little thumbnail that you can click on, but it's still like so much harder to get to than on Twitter or Instagram. So just in general, unless you're not streaming on Facebook gaming, I would not recommend it. Oh man. I can't wait to talk about this next point though, because I know I haven't said a lot of good things about Facebook as a platform for your brand, but it does have a significant advantage over all of these other ones, and it's something that will allow you to connect with your audience on a more intimate level, especially because of the lack of anonymity. So Larry IRL is a great example of this. He's a puppet streamer. He's an Aussie. There's him and Ghost doing like one of their little videos that they do. What's so great about Larry having a Facebook page is that it just gives a little bit more of an insight into the like ordinary everyday life of what it's like to just live as a puppet, right? Larry's just trying his best, you know? New outfits, he posts new outfits, he posts pictures of his lunch sometimes, or he just posts selfies because it works with his page, because his page is less about building a brand and advertising, like why you should go to my channel, and it's more of just building a whimsical world where a puppet is an online broadcaster. So with platforms like Twitter in general, you can post and then mute the thread and move on with your day, while your followers will engage with you and they'll talk among each other pretty autonomously. But on Facebook, sending replies to those leaving comments really goes the extra mile when getting people to return to your page for updates, as Facebook users in general will either respond to content by tagging a friend, leaving a comment specifically directed at you, or fighting among themselves if it's a political post or a meme. So like here, we got Larry posting his YouTube, a great thing to put on your Facebook page, And it's, you know, there's this one person here, I have no idea who that is at all, saying, your reactions are the only ones I care about, but don't tell Loco. And he's like, deal. But it's just like small interactions like that with this person, this unknown anonymous person, that can really drive up engagement and build more of a sense of, what's the word? Personability? Just making it easier to relate to someone. If it fits you and your brand, though, as well, I will say that posting memes to Facebook does super well. So the Midnight Gospel on Facebook actually does fantastic because they are kind of, I mean, the show is like a weird, psychedelic, trippy, meme-y kind of show, right? So on Facebook, they post a bunch of memes, and it's great. Like this one. This one is super relevant to the show because Duncan Trussell talks a lot about, like, psychoactive drugs and things like that, right? So if it fits your brand, memes on Facebook does wonders for engagement because it adds a little bit of personal touch that people are going to want to share onto their own walls. So, that's going to be it on Facebook. I know that there is a lot of content that was just covered on Facebook, and so I wanted to know if y'all had any questions when it comes to a Facebook page at all. Whether it's talking about your brand or maybe going over something else a little bit in depth. I'm gonna take a drink of water real quickly and y'all can kind of marinate on that. If I'm honest with you guys, I have not touched my Facebook page in like so long. Like, I use Facebook personally because it is this weird thing where you can get animation jobs through it, but as far as promoting myself, I haven't done that in about 3 or 4 years now. It's not optimal for content, but it does have its advantages if you use it properly. Our next thing that we're gonna go to is Instagram. So, it's another close-to-live medium that's broken into two specific parts with their own advantages and disadvantages. So, again, I will say, consistency, people! Consistency is key with almost every single thing that you post. Don't bomb your Instagram. Don't, go away for like 5 million days and then accrue a bunch of pictures that you all want to post at once. Make sure to spread them out, schedule them, post them once a day to stay on top of people's feeds. So if you post maybe like once every other day or so, right? That is going to help keep you in mind for viewers that haven't visited your stream in a while, right? Instagram stories are another thing about the platform that's pretty useful. They will let your viewers feel like they're with you there for simple things like a walk through the park or lunch at a cafe. You can also share your experiences at conventions, which I know Instagram stories is a huge thing for conventions right now, especially, or special events in general, to let them feel a little bit of privilege for being a supporter. So with stories, you basically get to do little blurbs and show them cool things that you get invited to. So, on to posting, and then we're going to talk about stories. Posting once a day or two is going to drive up engagement on your Instagram profile, and it helps viewers to be able to easily catch up on what they might have missed while they're away, right? So, people will go to your little Instagram page on their phone. There's a little description right there. Got some other things beneath it. And then it gets right to the pictures, right? So, what is it? Like 3 pictures? Yeah, like that. And so they can just click on each individual picture and kind of see the more like major things you're up to, or maybe just a life in the day of you as a streamer, a life in the day of you as a content creator, and they're gonna be like, wow, this is so nice. That's your viewer. So it's really nice to be able to help them to more visually catch up on what you've been up to, rather than having to scroll through your entire Twitter page and read like every reply. Like, it's exhausting. But Instagram removes the need for that because you can just kind of visually see what's going on real quick and then maybe click for a description if you want it. Instagram, being image-based, holds a significant advantage over Twitter because instead of users having to scroll through what's basically a text-based live feed of tweets, replies, and general streaming news, they can just be enticed into seeing a picture of what you've been up to or where you've been with a lot less effort. Selfies do well on Instagram for this reason. Your viewers want to connect with you a little bit more when you're not streaming, and the interface is clean enough to avoid clutter on both your profile and your own personal timeline. So honestly, like, little selfies like this, I'm just using Loco as an example this entire workshop because her Instagram is fantastic. Look at her with Booker. And these cool sunglasses she got, right? Christmas sweaters, right? This turns you into a real person, someone who's relatable, someone who has cardboard boyfriends, you know, like all of us, really. So, you know, it's a good way to just relate to people, give them a little bit more insight into your content that isn't, hey, I'm on Twitch right now. A large key to Instagram is the use of the famed hashtag. Though originally invented for use on Twitter, see, I talked about this earlier, hashtags on your tweets will actually drive down your engagement. On Twitter's interface, hashtags are yucky, and nobody wants them. They're just gonna scroll right over it. Instagram is a good chance to get more eloquent and go more into detail about what you're posting. So if it's a selfie, you can talk about maybe your day or streaming news. Obviously, everybody is talking about how adorable Booker baby is. Oh my goodness, he's so sweet. I love him. So people want to see your pets. Show them your fur baby. Show them what you're up to. Look, he turned 4 last week. And there's little pictures of the Booker. Oh, well, that's not that important. But there's a picture of the Booker baby. You know, it's just different ways to engage your viewers on Instagram. Choosing good hashtags that people frequently browse is a great way to boost your engagement on Instagram, because unlike Twitter, people on Instagram are going to actually actively search for hashtags that are correlated with their interests, and then they're going to scroll through the content to see what they like. I'm going to use this example of my sister who does comics because she's great. So this is what I mean, is like, okay, first of all, she might be a little long-winded, right, with her Instagram post, but it's good because you can post this comic on, like, Twitter, and you're not gonna be able to, like, see the entire backstory of what she means or what the world is, and it just adds a little bit more, lore to her comic making. But my sister is also incredible with hashtagging. I don't know how well y'all can see this, so I'm gonna zoom in a little bit. So you could do robot, cute, drawing, sketch, sketches, doodle, doodles, memes. It's just like all of these different hashtags are things that people are going to want to search because they want to see content that they're interested in. The more hashtags you have, the more people you're going to get in front of your content, etc. Right? If you keep consistently posting, again, consistency, not bombing. If you keep consistently posting, the chances of eyes catching your specific content while they're browsing through these hashtags goes up. I know that there will be people that will maybe search the same hashtag every couple of days or so, right? If you're consistently posting and using that same hashtag, that is a great way to make sure that you have more of a chance to improve your viewership. I know for me, creating hashtags is also very beneficial. I use hashtag KarliCartoons on Tumblr and Instagram whenever I post, because if someone ever wants to look me up, if you go into Google Images, now all of my art is going to be in Google Images because I used my own hashtag. So creating a hashtag that relates to your brand is, it's monumental. It can get a lot done, and it can go very far with very little effort. Stories on Instagram are also fantastic, so we're done with posting now, so say bye-bye to these other Instagram accounts. Stories are great. They're an awesome, succinct way to give live visual updates to your followers without having to worry about crafting a post or really putting much effort at all into posting. Stories typically expire within 24 hours, so posting constant updates during conventions, live events, or even hangouts with friends can be condensed neatly into a tiny little icon that viewers can click on to get fast updates. So it won't clog up your feed like a Twitter page. Like if you're constantly posting in a thread, that's going to continue to bump it up onto the channel, onto the timeline. This is just kind of quick little blurbs about your life that you might not want to actually put much effort into, much emotional effort into, in order to show your viewers what you're up to. It's, yeah, it doesn't clog up. It doesn't clog up at all. So shorts, videos, and blurbs, as well as selfies that you don't want to put editing effort into, are awesome for stories. They're also great for sharing jokes and memes with your community that you wouldn't want to have on a Twitter feed or your Instagram page. So you could do stories with fun jokes, memes, or even like a word of the day to keep your followers engaged on your Instagram account, even if you're not regularly posting formal images and descriptions. So, for example, if you're hanging out with your friends and you're having like a great time at a bar, this is a great picture, by the way. You might want to be like, hey, I'm hanging out with my streamer friends here and I'm having an awesome time. You know, this is you. And your friend over here might be licking your eyeball for a very random and unrelated reason, right? But you're not gonna want to put a lot of effort into making a post that said, hey, I licked one of my friend's eyeballs while we were all hanging out together and it was really fun and cool. You know? But if it's on a story, it'll just go away within 24 hours and then, you know, your community who saw it will be able to bring it up, you know, occasionally, every once in a while, and not make fun of you for it at all, really. Yeah. These analogies seem weirdly specific. I have no idea what you're talking about, Dylan. But yeah, no, stories are great for just things that you don't want to put a lot of effort into. If you want to take a selfie but then not have to worry about which filter is right, what am I going to do about the contrast? What am I going to write for this? No, you just take the selfie, you put a hashtag on it over your eyes maybe to say, hashtag fun times, like that is probably what it looked like. And then you're done, and it's up there and you don't have to worry about it. So, okay, something that I just learned about stories that makes them very interesting as well is that I know a lot of people are very creative, and one disadvantage that stories has is they expire after 24 hours, which is kind of sad, because if you put a lot of effort into showing progress for something, it's all going to go away, and then all of the effort that you had didn't really matter. But stories can now be collected into permanent installations called highlights. So even though stories get deleted after 24 hours, you have the potential to take those stories and create highlights of them, which then become fixed points on your Instagram page. So I don't know if y'all noticed this, but when you go to someone's Instagram page, this is their profile, and then, you know, that's gonna have the little, like, glowy thing on it to know that they have an active story, my name, and then you have a description right here. But then before all of your posts, some profiles might have these tinier little circles that look very similar to the stories symbol above your username with your active stories, right? And they're gonna have things like happy days, or sad days, or maybe you do a work in progress of something, right? Or maybe you wanna do like a series of unboxing videos. These are highlights. It's basically a massive collection of all of the stories that you did pertaining to this specific thing that you want to talk about. So, this is basically, besides being incredibly sentimental and nice, it allows you to fully take advantage of the short form, low production expectations that your viewers have from stories, and you can take them into short blurbs and save them in a longer form that gets pinned to the top of your profile for your followers' browsing pleasure. So if you want to get creative with your stories, or if you want to catalog something step by step, if you want to use your stories to tell a really, really, really long form joke and you want to like video document that, or if your pigeon does something really cute and you want to document that and then have it saved permanently, you can just collect that into a highlight. And I think for Instagram, that's gonna be it. I have one called My Mental Breakdown. It chronicles my interaction with a client I was editing a video for. See, TN, that's fantastic, right? So you can do silly things like that, and then when people go to their page and they'll see, wow, this guy's really having a bad time. That's hilarious! You know, it's just like extra content for people to interact with. Do we have any questions about Instagram or really anything that we've covered in the article? I can totally, like, take some questions, see how it's going. I will say, in summation, being able to master each of these social media platforms is going to take a lot of time, a lot of effort, and a little bit of research. which, I mean, is easily found through Google, honestly. But the end result is always worth it. Having your brand spread out across multiple platforms helps keep you autonomous and not relying on a single source of visibility, which unfortunately a lot of people are experiencing right now with the Mixer shutdown. It's important to remember to stay up to date with new changes to a platform's algorithm to make sure that they stay relevant. Paying attention to accounts that are successful on those platforms is going to give you insight into how the algorithm works, what they're doing, some behaviors that you might need to change, or something new that you might want to try. Being flexible as well and being able to teach yourself these social media websites is a fantastic skill to have, because even though it does take a lot of time and effort to master social media on one website, the fact that you're now able to do that with several websites will allow you to adapt in the future when social media is probably going to look very different from now. Why does Wave have less finger than... Are there peak times for Instagram too? TN, I know that there are, but I don't know them off of the top of my head. I will say that if you just look up peak hours for Instagram, peak hours for Twitter posting, right? There's tons of infographics. There's one updated every single year that will give you very specific times for your post to get the most out of your social media experience. So why does LocoWave have less finger than Streamer5? Well, so because you're a butt, and the artist who did that knew that you would notice and that it would bother you. Probably. I'm not Dan Jones, but that's just wild speculation. Yes, I have this guy named Tom on MySpace friends list. How do I get rid of him? You delete MySpace. That's all. Just delete your MySpace account, Chef. That'll help solve your problem. If we do not have any more questions, I think that we are gonna wrap up here. It is about 4:30. I know that we started a little bit late, but now we're ending just a tiny bit late. As always, you can follow us on StreamerSquare on Twitch. You can follow us on Twitter, twitter.com/StreamerSquare. If you subscribe to our channel, you're gonna get that awesome Streamer5 emote where you get to ask questions in chat during, you know, segments and workshops. I really hope that y'all enjoyed this. Make sure to use these in good practice, but keep in mind that a lot of the advice that I'm giving you today might be completely different advice that we would give you, say, in about 5 or 6 months, because algorithms change. Different things will work now that are suddenly going to be made completely irrelevant. So make sure to stay flexible, keep at it, get going. Sell your brand to people. Your brand is worth it. Your social media is worth it. And you owe it to yourself to cultivate an audience on social media that understands why you're there and what you're putting out there to the world. So for now, I'm going to say goodbye. We're going to talk to y'all next week about Nerd or Die. They're an overlay company that sell a bunch of animated assets, and I'm actually doing that one next week as well. It's going to be a very awesome segment, so make sure to tune in for that next week. Peace.